Hey guys, this is Jella and welcome back to my channel. We are now part 2 in our new Autumn Town series, which is still a no Gamepass. Anyways, for this part 2, I mentioned in my previous video that we will make another mini school here, which is definitely perfect for roleplays. And if you still haven't watched the first part, the link is in my description box, so go watch the part 1 first, hehe. Anyways, since I did an elementary school before, we will make a high school for this town. And since we only have a limited space, this school will only have 2 classrooms. I actually don't know how I would fit the students, but hopefully we can fit a decent classroom. I searched up high school exterior design and saw that many schools have this brick walls, and so I did that and used a rust color so it would fit the town vibe. I also made it modern and used a flat roof that extends to the front and side. I didn't know what color the roof should be, and all I wanted was to make it look dark, so I used the same dark gray color from the wall, and I think it looks alright. I also added some ceiling trims on the brick wall with the color of the dark gray so the color theme would be connected. And for the entrance door, of course, we will use this double glass door that I always used, hehe. I love using this door for commercial buildings. And for the windows, I used the commercial window since it fits the vibe of the school. I made the flooring the same throughout the school and used the wooden panel since this is my go-to flooring texture. And I just made the interior walls light, so I used lily white. The outdoor was too dark, so at least when you are inside the school, it would be the opposite, but still kind of warm looking. Making a layout of the rooms was hard for me since I wanted to add as many rooms as I can. But since we have a limited space, I just went with one main classroom, a science lab, common restroom, principal's office, and an open cafeteria. So for this first room, we will be doing the science lab. And in every high school, there is one science lab, so since this is just a small room, we can only cater at least 4 students. I used the large frame painting as a whiteboard. And then we will use the plain counter for the laboratory counters. And I added a sink on the wall side, so we can fit 2 students each counter. Gonna fast forward this part that I am cluttering the countertop. And to make this look like there are students here, I just added some activity books, spice racks that is gonna be the test tubes, bowl as a beaker, and this old candle as the Bunsen burner. I added this jar of fireflies, and good thing we have this from the new update. I guess let's pretend that this is part of the experiment, hehe. I also added some laboratory goggles and just colored it white since it should be clear. And then I copied the counters to make another at the back and just changed a bit so that it won't look like it was duplicated. And let's add some stools, and I always use the stool for most of my builds. I love how it looks, and it definitely fits the lab stools. Anyways, we have a space on the right side which is perfect for lockers. And because we are cheap, we will use this cubby shelves and add an organizer box to make it look like locker door. And just change the texture to metal diamond plate and gray color. I'm just adding some vent on the side wall since this is a science lab. I also added some cleaning supplies on top of the locker, and let's add this folded towels, which is the laboratory gowns. I added 2 trash bins on the side, the green for the recyclables and the yellow bin for the hazardous wastes. Let's not forget to add an emergency shower and eye wash station, and I will just place it here since the walls on the back are full packed. We will add a small podium for the teacher, and I used this basic cubes and color it wooden. I forgot to add ceiling trims on the interior walls, so let's add this wooden ceiling and floor trim all around the school. This makes the school more cozy looking. And then I added the commercial windows on the side and back wall. I still left some space for wall posters that would be lab safety guidelines and so on. Now let's make the common restroom. And as much as I want to make a separate restroom, we have quite a small space, so this is just for Bloxburg roleplay, and let's be honest, the restrooms are just used for boosting up moods, so it doesn't matter if it is common, hehe. I still added 2 cubicles, and I used this wooden fence as partition. And I placed down toilet necessities first before closing the front part since it is quite a hassle to add things on bird's eye view. Since this is a small restroom, I still wanted to add 2 sinks, so we will use this simple and cheap sink, and for the mirror, the horizontal mirror was too wide, so let's just use this mirror with frame. And then I added soap dispensers on both sides and a hand dryer on the left wall. In real life, I don't use a hand dryer, instead I use a paper towel or tissue to dry my hands. I think the hand dryer is not really sanitary, hehe. And I also placed the cleaning supplies on the corner side. I like to add some stuff going on, so I will use this dirt pile and make it look water. And so we have a water pile over here and place a wet floor sign above. I think it adds a bit of realism to a build. Anyways, I added this square sign for the toilet, and for the other rooms, I will be using this long framed painting. So if you see now that I added square frames on the other room, don't place it down because I will change that later to the long frame. So let's do the main classroom, and this is actually quite small since it is a 3x3 room. I kinda regretted the fact that I made this room exactly the same size as the principal's office, and I wish I had just taken one square from the other room, hehe. But we still got to continue this, so I used the small industrial table as a solo table for each student. And I measured up which table do I use to have more students here. So we will squeeze in 6 tables in this room. If we place the chairs next to the table, it wouldn't fit right. That's why I do the delete-undo technique so we can compress the space. But if you plan on recreating the school, might as well take into consideration making the principal's office smaller for this room to be a bit longer. That is if you plan on adding more tables and chairs to accompany students. But I think this will be enough for a public server since the server can only hold 12 people. So 10 students, 6 in the main classroom and 4 in the science lab. 2 teachers who can also be the principal. So that is 12 people already and enough for a roleplay. I'm adding different items in each table to give them a bit of personality. Like this person in the back likes to put on makeup, hehe. And I'm gonna add a pin board at the back wall to add some posters and notes. And some frames with lesson quotes. Let's add a small table for the teacher in front as well. I just squeezed it in so we can fit them all. I just added a lot of test papers on the teacher's desk, and let's add a small plant here as well. Now moving to the principal's office, I used this console table because I thought I could fit in a teacher's desk as well. The room was kind of small, so we will just make it the principal's office. And I just continued using the console table even though I could fit an ordinary office desk, hehe. Just adding more paperworks in here and some office supplies. I also added a mug and colored it autumn theme, which looked so cute. You might wonder why I added a remote control when there is no TV. That is a pretend smartphone, hehe. I am still waiting for the time Bloxburg devs add a smartphone in the decoration. Like it is a must in a roleplay. We have walkie-talkie, why not add a phone that we can hold? Here I am ranting about phone again, hehe. Sorry about that. Anyways, I added a bookshelf since we cannot add a library in the school. And I'm adding frames on the wall for the school awards and certificates. I also added 2 chairs in front and a wooden bench seating at the backside. Just adding a few plants in this room, and we will also add a square window, but because of the frames that I added earlier, we cannot place the windows. So I moved the framed paintings a bit higher so that we can place the windows on the side. And as I mentioned earlier, I changed the room signs to a long framed painting. Finally, we are done with the rooms. Let's move on making this small cafeteria. And as much as I want to make a separate cafeteria, we have a small area to work with, so it would be best to make this an open concept. We will just make it simple, so I used this simple fridge and stove because we are cheap, hehe. And for the counters, I recolored the plain counter, but I will change the countertop to make it wooden later. I also added a display case for the foods that the school might be selling. And I used the toy cash register since I can't afford buying the cash register that is Bloxbucks. I hope we can also have a cash register that isn't Bloxbucks though. I'm adding some kitchen decors, and feel free to add kitchen supplies that you like. I moved the cup holder on the other side so we can place down the dish rack in front. I also added a lot of trays for the students when they grab their meals. And because the walls look plain and empty, we will add overhead cabinets. And I am just adding a few appliances here because I will be broke in no time if I add a lot, hehe. So feel free to add the appliances that you like to add. I copied the trash bin that we have on the lab. But I forgot we have a much bigger trash bin. Anyways, you can change the bin to your liking. And for the cafeteria seats, I used the Go to Outdoor square table because I love how it looks and partnered with this wooden stool. I made the center tables into 4-seater so we can accompany 10 students eating at the same time. I made the front desk last because I wanted to see how the rooms would look like before I added this reception area. And I just used this plain counter, and we will make it very simple, so I just added a small monitor and a clipboard for attendance or enrollees. I also added a telephone on the side, but I used the cheapest one, hehe. I also used the office chair so that the receptionist can sit comfortably. Anyways, I just added a few wooden seats by the entrance to those students waiting. And I added this large floor plant on the corner walls. I always put the lights last in my builds, so I'm just using the sleek ceiling lights, which is my favorite lighting because it is cheap for its quality. I used linen tone for the light bulb. And for the cafeteria, I used an industrial light, but changed the tone to flint so it wouldn't be too bright or warm. And I didn't know what else to add, so I just added this banner on the wall. It would look better to be placed in the middle, but since we do not have an advanced placing, just stick it on the wall. I also added lockers in front of the classrooms and just used cubby shelves again. The front of the school definitely deserves more seating, so I added the tables outside. I also changed the color of the table so it would look different from the brown flooring. And I copied the bench from the park so we could add it over here. I also added a no parking sign for more details. I copied the long painting frame outside for the school logo. And here are the decals that I made. If you like to copy the codes, just pause the video. Other decals that I used on the classrooms are from the free images that I searched up. Yay! We are finally finished with the part 2 in our no Gamepass autumn/fall town. And this is Bloxburg High, a small high school in our town. So right now the total plot value is $77,792. And this costed me around $45,000 to $50,000. And of course this is a no Game Pass build, so if you don't have any Game Passes and you want to build a town, then this is for you. So the school is right next to this small park and it is the biggest building here in our town. This is how it looks like in front. We have tables and chairs over here and a bench for those waiting. So this is the entrance door. I actually didn't want to add a logo in front of the school, but since I edited some decals for the classroom sign, I also edited a simple school logo. As you enter, we have here the reception area and then some seating by the window. The front reception is very simple. I just added a monitor and clipboard and a telephone. So if you have a budget to buy a computer, feel free to do so. We have here some lockers outside, and the first room in the school is the science lab. It is a very small laboratory, but we have what we need. The teacher can use this podium for his or her lectures. And of course, we didn't forget the emergency shower and eye wash station. We have 2 lab counters with sink in each aisle. And the science lab can accommodate 4 students. I tried my best to clutter the counters and I like how it turned out. This would be great for role plays and I added the sink on the far left. I love how we can grab this jar and let's just pretend that this is an experiment, hee. I also added this old candle because it looks like a Bunsen burner from our lab. We also have our lab goggles which we cannot wear, but it still looks like a good clutter. So yeah, that is our small science lab. I love it so much. This is probably my favorite part in the school. Now let's go to the next room, which is the common restroom. And I just searched up a toilet sign decal from the free images. So yeah, this is our not so clean restroom. Sorry for the wet floor, it must be from the ceiling leak. Don't worry, that is not urine, hee. We have 2 cubicles here and it's just simple. So let's head to the next room, which is the lecture room. And this is the main classroom since all the lectures from math, English, geography, and any other lectures will be held here. We have a very small space, but glad we fit in 6 tables for students. Although we have to jump over a student when sitting down, hee. I made each table a bit different with the clutters, but this table is definitely my favorite because the student here loves makeup. This is not me in real life cause I don't really know how to put on proper makeup, hee. But back in my high school days, I am usually sitting in front like this is my table right here, hee. Don't get me wrong, I just wanted to sit in front because I have poor eyesight. Anyways, that is our small classroom. Let's go to the principal's office. And we have here the awards that the school received. And the lockers here are student files. I added these chairs for the students or parents that may come visit the principal. And a wooden bench at the back. So this is the principal's desk where he or she processed this loads of paperworks. Look at the massive paper files to be read though. And last but not the least is the cafeteria. We have it open style so that the students just come and go grab their meals. I also added a cash register since nothing is free in this era. So yeah, this is our small kitchen and simple appliances. Feel free to add more appliances that you might need. And over here is the dining seats for the students. It is quite open, but I guess you just also seat here if you have no classes to go to. Anyways, that will be the small tour of Bloxburg High. Thank you guys for watching the part 2 of our No Game Pass Autumn Town series. I would appreciate your support by giving this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest videos I upload. Help me reach 10,000 subs before 2024 ends. This would help me a lot, especially in making future videos for you all. Love you guys. We have all been busy, so I hope you are all safe, and to the students, study well. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, or night. Love you all and take care. See you on my next video.